it's Tamika, and it's time for a quick video. Yesterday in Facebook, I said, you know what, I think it's time for a YouTube video. What do you think I should talk about? So a couple people responded, and what I'll do is over the next couple of days, I'll just go ahead and share my thoughts about the questions. So Lori, this is for you. I know you are traveling tomorrow, I believe. And so here's some thoughts about traveling with your lap band. Number one, if you guys don't have that lap band card that you can carry around in your wallets, please feel free to make sure you get one. I got mine from lapband.com, just went, signed up. You sort of give them pertinent information. It'll have your surgeon's name, telephone number, when you were banded. It has a little picture of lap band, and it could also be used at restaurants. I'm not one that goes to restaurants and order kids meals. I don't necessarily want anything off the kids menu anyway. So like, I don't want a hot dog, macaroni and cheese, and chicken fingers. That stuff will make me PB. And so I typically order like small plates, appetizers, or a meal that I know that I'm not going to completely consume, and I'm okay with that. So that is on your card. You can use it for that reason, but for traveling, you can also use it when you're going through airport security. When I was first banded, I remember going through an airport and it was sort of like, what's that? And I pulled out my lap band card and said, that's my lap band. And I was fine. Nowadays, they do sort of the full body scans, and several of the airports that I went through recently, they do the whole full scan. We stand there, hold your arms up, all that business. And then you have to sort of stand to the side, and then they go clear, And I think at this point they know that that's a lap band, if they can actually see it. Sometimes you get some raised eyebrows, but I don't necessarily have to explain it anymore. But just in case you're in an airport where they don't know and they're doing that scan and they can see your lap band, having your card could help with that. Number two, know that for me, I also know that Wendy and Melanie talk about the fact that when they travel, and I've heard some other people talk about it, that their bands tighten. It happens to me as well. And so last week had a really hard time because sort of right after I got off the plane, second plane, I started feeling like this gurgling even when I was trying to drink water. So I was having a hard time keeping water down. So just, sort of be mindful. You're going to have to probably take it easy if you fly and you experience that tightness. It lasts for a few days. This go around, it went a little longer than usual. But I also have some other things going on in my life. So I think there was like some stress related tightness as well. So that happens to me too. When I have stress, my band gets tight. When I'm sick and my body is stressed, my band gets tight. When I fly, my band gets tight. So I have like these sort of mini life fills along the way. I feel better now though. Number three, make sure that you have sort of some of your bariatric basics with you, or that you can get to them when you're away from home. And so I call them bariatric basics because these are the sort of the basic things that I like to have in my life that make me feel comfortable. And some of mine would be eggs, cheeses, various cheeses, hard cheeses, sliced cheeses, soft cheeses, the Baby Bells, the Laughing Cows, all that type of stuff. I like variety. In case you didn't know, I get bored very easily. So I like to have lots of different types of things. One thing that I found that I haven't seen here when I was traveling was Weight Watchers makes something similar to Laughing Cow, and it was like in jalapeno something. And for those of you who are Weight Watchers people, it was 1 point, I think it was, oh my gosh, I think it was probably 35 calories or something like that. It was good on calories and stuff like that. Of course, a lot of those pasteurized cheeses that it's not good in protein. So if you're after protein, I would say sort of stay away from that type of stuff and go more towards like some real cheese. Anyway, that was a side note. Back to my bariatric basics: cheese, egg, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt. And it's funny because a newbie here lately said, you know, why do I keep hearing people talk about Greek yogurt? And Greek yogurt is one of those things that I think once you go there, you don't necessarily go back if you like it. Some people don't like the taste of Greek yogurt, but the reason why you see a lot of bariatric folks with Greek yogurt is because it's better protein wise. Sometimes it's 2 times, maybe 3 times more protein in a Greek yogurt than a regular yogurt. And so, you know, if you're concentrating on your protein levels and you know, trying to make sure you get enough protein in with each meal, once you realize that, it's hard to go back to a regular yogurt. I know some people who don't necessarily like the taste of it, and they'll mix regular yogurt with their Greek yogurt and you know, be able to take it that way. So Greek yogurt is definitely on my list. Some more things, I'd say my protein powders, because a lot of times if I see that I'm not going to be able to consume my protein for the day, my 60 to 85 grams for the day, then I will supplement with some protein in a drink or so. In fact, most mornings I try to start off with something that has a drink that has protein in it. I'm a Designer Whey girl, love, love, love it. And that is my favorite go-to protein powder, and it's really simple why. Get about between 18 and 19 grams of protein in each scoop. Each scoop is typically about 100 calories. That works for me. It's easy for me to mix it. You know, I don't have to necessarily worry about clumping. I don't need a blender bottle. I don't need a blender. And so it's easy. Just use my spoon and mix it up. So that works for me. That's the reason why I love Designer Whey. In case people, you know, from time to time, like, what protein do you like? That was another question that I got. I've tried various different types of protein. I also have some Click in there, and I do use that too sometimes. But, you know, I'm really, if you ask me, my favorite, I would say Designer Whey. I have all the flavors, and they're just on my counter, and I reach for them. So now, you know, when you're traveling, if there's some things that you have at home that you can take with you to make your trip easier, then do that. And so, like, when I went with Grella Be Gone, when she had her surgery, I knew I was going to be gone with her for a week at the hospital. And so I had my protein. I had some instant oatmeal. I had, you know, my little Crystal Light mixes and things like that to sort of help me along a little bit. You know, when I reflect back on last week and traveling, and when I first got there, it's like, you know, here's this and here's that and that's over there and here's this over here. But for whatever reason, I still had this anxiety related to not feeling like I was in control of what I was getting ready to consume, and not in control of making sure that I had those things that were there that I would feel comfortable with grabbing and eating and knowing that it was okay for me. And so I did end up going to the store, went to Walmart, and since I forgot my protein powder, I ended up getting like Myoplex, the ready-made protein drinks. My dietitian says steer away from those because they typically have more sugar and more junk. And so I've never necessarily been a ready-made protein drinker. I like my powders. But I did pick that up. I drank a couple of them. I got like the chocolate and the strawberry. No, the chocolate and the vanilla. 25 grams of protein. I understand that there's a light version because I got a little weirded out with the fact that it was like 210 calories. It just seemed like it was too much for me. Because I don't always mix my protein with straight milk. Sometimes I do some milk and some water. And you know, protein powders, they don't necessarily tell you to mix it with milk because a lot of times it's powder milk in there. And so you really only need to do with water. And so you can get away with, like if you were doing Designer Whey, you can get away with having a protein drink with just 100 calories if you're just using water. So I seem to be rambling, and that's because I haven't made a video lately. I need to be more consistent with making videos, and that way, you know, I have lots of thoughts all the time, tons of thoughts. And you'll see that if you follow me on Facebook. If you haven't connected with me on Facebook, remember WLS Coach Tamika over there. And I also have the page, which is Lap Band Success Coaching. So I communicate on both of those different places, in both of those different places on Facebook, so connect with me there. But I did want to make sure that I made this video. You know, we can travel with our bands. I got off track last summer. You know, I was outside of my element, and I wanted to do the things that the locals were doing and eating and stuff like that, and I got off track. And so I learned 7 months in to my lap band journey that I needed to make sure that I did the things that I do at home when I'm away as much as possible. So, you know, going as soon as you get wherever you need to get, if you haven't taken the things with you that you like, being able to go to the store and pick some of those things up, identifying what's important to you, like what are your bariatric basics? What are the 5 to 10 things that you like to have around you that you know work for you? And your band, or whatever your weight loss surgery is. Make sure that you have those things available so that you're not just sort of wandering around and, you know, maybe making the wrong decisions as far as food is concerned. So again, if somebody asks me what are my top 5, I would say eggs, cheese, some type of canned meat if possible, like tuna, and you know they have it in the pouches and stuff like that nowadays, so you don't even have to worry about cans and can openers. So like, you know, whether it be the tuna or the salmon or the chicken or turkey, something like that, you know, that's important to me. Cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, those are my top 5. If I went further, I'd say I make sure I have my milk, whatever milk, you know, works for me at the time. If it's non-fat, or if it's Hood Calorie Countdown, which is great. Making sure that I have like my drink mixes for water. Currently, I'm using the one from Walmart, which has stevia in it, and it works for me. You know, I have like some allergic reaction stuff goes on when I drink like regular Crystal Light. Aspartame, somebody told me to say it that way, doesn't work for me, and I'm allergic, so I can't have too much of that kind of stuff. So, you know, any of those, you know, for me, it would be stevia-based drink mixes. Those help me along to make sure that I get my water intake in. You know, if you're a type of person who likes to add cereal to your, for me, my yogurt and my cottage cheese, I might add a little like Kashi Go Lean. I don't eat cereal with milk. Maybe 2 months in, I was told not to do that by my dietitian because it wasn't keeping me, because, you know, water and liquid and food, we're not supposed to drink and eat. So it's the same concept with cereal. So another little side note tip. You know, those are sort of my go-to items. Again, figure out what they are for you. And once you do that, then travel should be easy. You know, nowadays it's easy for us. I think it's easier for us to find things that work with our bariatric lifestyles. Even in restaurants, you know, there's small plates now. There's appetizers that are great for us to be able to eat as a meal. You know, you can always substitute. Don't bring me those carbs, don't bring me that bread, you know, bring me some veggies and bring me some meat and I'm good, you know. And a container to take it home because I'm not going to eat it all. You know, and it'll be okay. I'd say don't be anxious, don't be nervous, have a good time. Just make sure you're prepared as possible, and have fun. All right, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.